Aubameyang, the rise and fall. In the electrifying world of football, where legends are forged in the heat of battle, few stories are as thrilling and tumultuous as that of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Picture a young boy with lightning in his boots, growing up in the shadow of his father's legacy, carving his path from the nondescript French town of Laval to the grand stadiums of Europe. This isn't just a tale of triumph, it's a roller coaster of speed, scandal, and suspense. From Milan's elite academy to the French mid-table or the so-called Farmers League clubs of Dijon, Lille, and Saint-Etienne, our hero faced more than lone spells than a typical Chelsea academy player, although he never set foot in the London club's toxic academy. Imagine the horror of being passed around nondescript clubs like an unwanted gift, far away from home for the price of a packet of Cheetos. But when he finally found his form, oh boy, did he take the football world by storm. His relentless pursuit of greatness turned him into Borussia Dortmund's goal-scoring superhero and Arsenal's charismatic captain. I am being generous here. He wasn't. More on that later. Yet, behind the dazzling goals and million-dollar cars lurked a penchant for drama that threatened to overshadow his brilliance. Off the pitch, Aubameyang's flair for the extravagant captured the world's attention. Customized million-dollar cars and flamboyant parties from Greece to Dubai and Monaco were his trademarks. When he was on fire, his brilliance masked the controversies. But when the lows hit, the media pounced, using his flashy lifestyle as an excuse for his missteps. From being stripped of the captaincy at Arsenal to dramatic last-minute transfers to Barcelona and Chelsea, Aubameyang's career is a football soap opera that leaves you on the edge of your seat. So, what really drives this enigmatic superstar? Is it the love of the game, the thrill of the chase, or something more? Aubameyang has featured for many teams, but his stint at Arsenal remains the one that solidified his name among world-class top scorers, even though he scored more than 141 in Dortmund. At the London club, Auba scored 92 goals in 142 appearances and won a Golden Boot after a prolific 2018-2019 season, netting 22 goals. Auba continued his form under Emery. He was appointed captain after Xhaka was stripped of the role for an on-pitch incident involving the fans during a Crystal Palace match. Enter Mikel Arteta. In an interview with Oh My Goal, Auba explained that everything was overhauled under Mikel. Arteta, just 37 at the time, had doubts about whether he was even ready for the move. Speaking to BBC Sport, Arteta confessed that indeed the grass was not greener in the capital and the club was a total mess. You get the opportunity straight away to go to Arsenal Football Club, which is in a moment that is very complicated, very divided. The energy, it's difficult to manage problems with ownership, problems with supporters. So I get everybody together in one room one day and I put the whole room down. It was all a mess. Arteta's first task was to talk to Auba, the team captain, and he explained his vision. Auba loved his vision, and the two got off on the right foot. They ended up being very close, and Arteta became more than a coach to Auba. He shielded him from media bias during a 6-goal drought, the longest in his senior career, and explained that Auba had his full support and he did not intend to sell him. The bet on Auba paid off as he hit 22 goals, just falling short of the Golden Boot by 1 goal. The best form keeps on giving, and on the 18th of July, in their FA Cup semi-final against defending champions Manchester City, Aubameyang scored both goals in a 2-0 win for Arsenal, sending them to the final. On 1st of August, he converted a penalty and scored the winner in the final as Arsenal defeated Chelsea 2-1, and Aubameyang lifted his first trophy with the club, becoming the first African to win the FA Cup as a captain. Not long after, on the 29th of August 2020, Aubameyang scored a goal in normal time and the 5th and winning penalty in a shootout win against Liverpool in the Community Shield. After the prolific season, Auba explained that he wanted to leave the London club because, according to him, he had won Arsenal 2 cups and he had generally proven himself to the fans and the club. He shared this with its coach, who at this time was like his mentor, although he was barely 5 years older than him. Once again, Arteta went above and beyond to make sure the best player in the team stayed. Auba felt reassured by Arteta, and on the 15th of September, Aubameyang signed a new 3-year contract with Arsenal. Things started going south shortly after because Auba started performing dismally and struggled to find his form. Things didn't help much because he missed 3 matches in February 2022 to attend to his sick mother back in France. After his return, he was further forced to miss a North London derby against Spurs because of disciplinary reasons. Well, he came late to training, and it was not the first time. After the incident, Arteta visited Auba at his house unannounced that night, and the two had a man-to-man conversation which showed how close the two were. In an interview on Oh My Goal, Auba explained that they had a heartfelt conversation. Auba promised not to do it again, and he walked Arteta out of the house, and they hugged and decided to move on. Arteta shielded Auba from the media and some fans, explaining that even the best players have their lows. Auba finished the season with only 10 goals, the lowest in 8 seasons. Although Auba had promised not to be late again to training, he did it again in the match against Everton, although it was not entirely his fault. Arteta and Arsenal had had enough. Auba explained, "It was during the COVID period and we were playing, I think, Everton." Aubameyang told Call Interview, "My season wasn't great. We were struggling in the league, and the day before, the coach told us, look, it doesn't matter if we win or not. You have a day off, but if you want to leave, you notify yourself before the match because you have to follow the health safety rules." My mother, a few months before, had a stroke. It was going to be Christmas time, so I went to see the coach and said to him, "Coach, I'm coming to see you because I'd like to leave. I'm going to go pick up my mother to bring her back for the holidays." He tells me no problem. So off goes Auba, but when he comes back a day later than expected because his mom had more tests to take, which means he cannot train with the rest of the team because of health protocols. This prompted a very angry reaction from the coach, who at this time had had enough. I arrive, the coach finishes his meeting, and then he grabs me and completely tears into me. Aubameyang continued, "He shouts at me like I'm crazy. He says, 'You put a knife in my back. You can't do that to me, given the times we're in.' At that moment, I tell myself that I am not going to answer him because it's going to end angrily. I didn't go partying. He knows very well the reason for my departure. So at that moment, I don't understand why he is lecturing me like this." This time around, Arteta doesn't visit Aubameyang to talk things out. To be honest, it should have been Auba who made the effort. Instead, the team doctor breaks the news to him. Arteta doesn't want him back with the team. I say to myself, okay, and then afterward, he calls me and we have a meeting where he tells me that 1, he's taking away the captain's armband, and 2, I'm not training with the group anymore, as revealed by an Amazon special. With the pensive team sitting in the meeting room, Arteta breaks the news. He says it's his decision and that Auba will not be with the team for the rest of the season. Shortly after, Arsenal releases an official statement confirming the same. After the incident, without informing Arsenal, Auba flies to Barcelona. He decides to sign with the club, literally presenting his CV and acting as his own agent. The Amazon special shows surprised lawyers who are equally surprised to learn the player is not in training. Scrambling to complete the transfer within the deadline, Auba ends up taking a massive pay cut and joins Barca for the remainder of the season. In the wake of Aubameyang's transfer, Arteta remained tight-lipped but emphasized that he sees himself as the solution to the problematic relationship with his player. "I have been the solution, 100%. I can look anyone in the eye. I do a lot of things wrong for sure, but my intention is always the best, not for me, but for the club and the team." Later, Auba took a jab at Arteta, saying he lacks what it takes to handle big names and is better suited to coach younger players who say yes to everything. Reflecting on the incident with Arteta and Arsenal, Auba, in the same interview with Oh My Goal, he reveals something he had never talked about before. He opens up about his mental health during his last months at Arsenal. He admits he became alcoholic and depressed when his mom and dad were seriously ill. His dismissal from Arsenal only worsened the situation. "For example, I started drinking a lot. It was a difficult journey. It started before I was fired from Arsenal. So yes, it's depression. I think personally it's related to the health condition of my parents. It affects men. It's difficult." Auba's struggles were evident to some fans who noted his appearance when he announced his move to Chelsea. Many remarked that he looked depressed and out of place, possibly even hungover. Things did not help much when Arsenal fans joined to criticize him for being a snake, even after they largely sided with him during his saga with Arteta. The move to Chelsea was far from perfect and less dramatic because his motivation to move to Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, was sacked barely a week later, and the new coach dropped dropped him to the bench and left him out of crucial games. Auba would only last one mediocre season at Chelsea before packing his bags once again. After leaving Chelsea at the end of the 2022-2023 campaign, Aubameyang booked a move to Marseille. This transfer has seen the striker settle and become the highest scoring player in Europa League history. After netting his 31st goal to break Radamel Falcao's record, the striker looks like he's made a comeback, with some fans joking that even his hairline has made a comeback. His father, who had been sick for a while, weighed in on the Marseille transfer, saying that he believed the transfer would resurrect his son's career after a nightmare year at Chelsea. Speaking to L'Equipe, he confirmed that his son had been the happiest he had ever been. Now it is over. He has a smile. He knows that I am seeing the light again because I can walk and run since my last operation. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's journey is not just about football. It's a story of resilience, openness, and triumph over adversity. By being candid about his struggles with mental health in a field where such issues are often kept private, Auba has become a role model. His resilience during the lows and his incredible performances during his peak remind us of the highs and lows that define a true sports legend. Now that he's back to scoring and enjoying the game, he has nothing left to prove. No one can judge him if he decides to move to the Saudi Pro League for one last paycheck before retiring. After all, he's earned it.